So one of my goals for 2025 is to grow as a storyteller and a filmmaker, specifically in the narrative space. Most of the work I've done up until this point has been kind of more commercial and corporate, which is still fun storytelling, but I really want to grow specifically in my ability to tell narrative stories. So a goal and a challenge that I'm setting out for myself is to create one short film a month for the entirety of 2025. And today we're going to dive into pre-production on our first short film. So because I've never created something quite like this before, I'm going to start off by taking inspiration from another short film I saw recently that I really love. Now I'm talking specifically about Danny Gevirt's short film on golf. He published this just over a year ago. It's only a minute and 50 seconds long, but I really love what he did here. The story is clean and kind of inspirational. The dialogue is very simple, which is good for me because I don't consider myself much of a writer. But the visuals are beautiful. Now, the other kind of correlation I have, well, I'm not much of a traditional golfer. I have in my life played quite a bit of disc golf. Disc golf was a huge part of my life probably for the past 4 years or so. And about 6 months ago, I just stopped playing. And that's something I've been thinking a lot about recently is why. I mean, it went from, when I say a huge part of my life, I mean, I have hundreds of discs over here in the corner. You've probably seen them in the background of some of these videos. I had a YouTube channel, made almost 100 videos about disc golf. I played multiple times a week. I played in tournaments. I played competitively. I loved disc golf, but something in my life changed and I have not picked up a disc in 6 months. So I want to explore that a little bit. Now I'm going to try and, for this piece, just kind of follow the format and the template that Danny laid out. Obviously, I don't want to copy exactly what he did, but I'm certainly drawing a ton of inspiration from his piece. It's linked down below if you want to go watch it. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely should, because it's really beautiful work and he's a great storyteller and a great cinematographer and filmmaker. But what I love is he just has these really simple shots, these really simple opening lines that kind of set up and frame the entire story, and then the rest is just built around these beautiful visuals that move the viewer through the narrative. So what I want to do is explore this idea, not of learning to play golf like he does in his film, but specifically why I stopped playing disc golf and what in my life has changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new Notion page. That's the software I use to kind of track ideas and to sort of manage YouTube content, if you will. And I'm just going to start jotting down some general ideas. So here we go. Disc golf, short film, January. All right, so let's just jump into the script here. Let's start with some themes. So talk about parenting a little bit. I think that's one of the factors. Life got busy, parenting, work, responsibility, passion, hobbies, maybe joy or happiness. So I'm just jotting down some general themes that could kind of be a driving piece of this narrative. Now, obviously, I won't be able to hit on all of these, because we're going to really try and keep this piece to like under 2 minutes, probably even just a minute, just for the sake of simplicity and, as I'm really just trying to learn and grow in this skill set. So I want it to be actually attainable so that I can do this every single month. If I try and bite off too much, I know that's going to be challenging. That at least gives us some sort of thematic direction. So the next thing I'm going to do is just start to kind of outline some different beats as I think through what this piece could look like, as I pull inspiration off Danny's piece. I just want kind of a 30,000 foot view of what this story is and where it might go. So, this is a new experience for me. I'm generally not a super organized storyboard type person, but that's going to be a big part of this exercise and this learning and growing experience for me. So let's just call this story beats. And, the way I kind of see this, I love something that Danny did is the opening shot of his film also comes back at the end. So you sort of have all of this, all of the middle piece of his film is sort of like frozen in time. Like it's all happening in a linear progression, but at the same time, the beginning and the last are the same moment in time. And I just love, obviously I don't have good language for that, but I love what that does from a story perspective. So I want to do something similar. So I kind of picture this opening beat is in my garage, my disc golf bag, my bag with all my discs, it's just kind of like buried in a corner of my garage. So in garage, looking at bag, holding and contemplating going out to play. So I think that'll be my opening and closing. And, you know, not to bury the lead, the way I kind of see this film ending is cutting back to that final scene, making the decision that I am going to go out and play disc golf. So getting ready with my bag, and then maybe off screen hearing my son, my 3-year-old, maybe his voice saying something like, "Hey, Daddy, will you come play with me?" Me pausing, putting the bag down, and making the decision to go play with my son instead of going to play disc golf. Because I think that really does kind of get at the heart of why I haven't played in so long. Life got busy. I had a lot of other things going on, honestly, more important things than a hobby like disc golf. And so, you know, when push came to shove, something in my life had to give. Between work and filmmaking and parenting and marriage, all these things, I just didn't have time to continue to have these additional hobbies. And so for the last 6 months, disc golf was that thing. That's what had to give. And so, you know, especially as we're about to have a third kid, I think that's going to continue to probably thematically be where my life is at. So I just want to explore that and kind of end on that note. So I kind of see the next shot after that, just beginning at contemplating going out and playing. I need some sort of explanation of why disc golf matters. I need the context, right? So, you know, something along the lines of disc golf used to be a massive part of my life, sort of what I was just explaining to you. So this will maybe be some of the voiceover. I played almost every day. I competed in tournaments, made disc golf YouTube content, and bought hundreds of discs. But I haven't played a single round or picked up one of these discs in over 6 months. Okay, so I think that'll kind of be our opening line. We might have to refine that a little bit, right? I'm not a great copyist or a great script writer, but that at least gives us some sort of framework. So now what I have to figure out, though, is the visuals for that. Now, because I used to create YouTube videos around disc golf, I have a ton of archival footage that I think I can kind of pull from. So let's just make a visual note here. Archival footage from beginning of disc golf through 6 months ago. And hopefully visually I can kind of show that progression a little bit, because I have a lot of that footage somewhere. So then it's sort of a matter of the transition, or I'm just going to call this beat 3 for me, as why don't I play anymore? And that's the next part of the story that I really need to explain and somehow visually show. So, you know, maybe that looks like scenes of me working, maybe washing dishes just to kind of show responsibilities around the house, playing with kids, potentially answering phone calls, generally being busy. So I think that's the way I want to take this, is just to kind of show the change in time. Busyness happened. There's a lot on my plate. So some of those shots hopefully will do a good job of that. And I think too, I can maybe have a lighting change here. I'll have to explore this a little bit. This is just an idea off the hop. But I think beat 3, let's go blue and cool color tone. And then for beat 2, which is kind of all that archival footage, I want to be a little more yellow and warm. I think that's what I want to do. Yellow and warm, just kind of showing fond memories, showing it was in the past, kind of giving a little bit more of that nostalgic, warm, I guess, kind of feel. And then blue and cool, you know, yeah, a little colder, a little more detached, a little busier. You know, hopefully that will come through in the color grade. We'll see. That's just an idea, so we'll kind of see how that comes out. And then I need maybe kind of the last beat before the end. Let's just call it beat 4 for the sake of what I'm doing here. Would be some sort of contemplation around wanting to play again, of missing it. And maybe even on that note, throughout that entire beat 3, sort of just showing that busyness, maybe I have kind of little mementos of disc golf in the background of those shots that are kind of catching my eye. I don't know about that, but it's at least an idea, so I'll throw that down. So that way, there's just some sort of like visual through line or visual reference of like disc golf isn't intentionally cut out of my life. It's not intentionally ignored. It's still there in the background, drawing my attention all the time. It just isn't getting paid attention to. So contemplating around wanting to play it, missing it. Yeah, I have to figure out exactly. Maybe this is the actual me walking out to the garage. Maybe this is, once again, probably blue. I don't know. We're going to have to put some more thought into that kind of final beat. I'm not totally sure, but this at least gives me a little bit of an outline and kind of a 30,000 foot block of what this story might look like. So I'm happy with what we have here. And honestly, that took us all of 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So that was actually a little easier than I thought. Now, obviously, this isn't really fleshed out. We'll see how this goes. But what I kind of need to figure out now is what some of these shots are actually going to look like, where I'm going to shoot them. And then maybe we'll just kind of go for it here. I'm not always the most planned or organized person in the world. I'm kind of more of a live in the moment and go with the flow kind of guy. So, this is my attempt to be more organized, but let's see how this goes. So let's talk about the parameters for this short film. I really want to challenge myself to shoot the entire thing on just my 21mm and my 50mm primes. Those are the new cinema lenses that I recently got, the Dezio Vespid primes. My hope with this series in making these short films every month is, one, like I've said, to improve as a storyteller, but two, to also improve the technical aspects of my filmmaking. So there are going to be some challenges with that. Obviously, I'm filming this myself and I'm going to be totally reliant on manual focus, but I think that will be a really good challenge and a good opportunity to continue to increase my ability as a filmmaker and to grow in comfortability on those two lenses. Secondly, we don't have any budget for this piece. That means we're limited to just the gear and the locations that are easily available to us, and hopefully we're going to shoot this piece in a day. If we need to shoot it over a couple days, we can, but my goal would be to kind of shoot this whole piece in a day. Remember, we're really only going for 60 seconds here. If we can get maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes worth of really good storytelling, well, that's wonderful, but I'm not trying to create a feature-length piece here or anything even 5 to 10 minutes. Just a really short narrative piece I can experiment with, try and tell a story in, grow my filmmaking abilities, hopefully create something that also looks really cool. As we get ready to head into the new year, 2025 for me has to be a year where I also really hit the business side of filmmaking pretty hard. I really need to find hopefully another 1 or 2 retainer clients and increase my income from filmmaking, hopefully substantially from where it was in 2024. And that's partly also why I'm putting so much time and effort into growing my skill set, because I know the better filmmaker that I am, the more competent I am as a cinematographer or a DP or just a filmmaker, as a storyteller, then the hopefully better job I can do of actually getting clients and getting higher paid shoots and more kinds of work that's generally more fulfilling and interesting to me. As much as the kind of corporate interview style is probably what will mostly pay my bills, although it seems like also there'll probably be a lot of like social media type shoots, and those are fine, right? Like there's nothing wrong with those. You can still be creative and create a beautiful image and tell some stories. Ultimately I would love to get to a point where I can make some money from more narrative driven storytelling, either here on YouTube. I mean, that would be the ultimate dream, maybe. Might be a little bit of a pipe dream, who knows. But if not here on YouTube, then client work, whether that's either commercial or documentary, but some sort of work, paying work, where I can tell stories that are impactful, that are driven by emotion, that have meaning, right? I mean, if I can find a way to do that, that to me would be success. That would be living the dream. Being able to tell stories that make a difference, that have impact, that drive meaning, and get paid to do it. That's where this is all going. That's what we're ultimately aiming for. And the hope is in doing these short films every month that I'll grow in my ability and my skill set to do just that. Now the last and maybe one of the most important pieces of pre-production for me is going to be choosing the music. I've never really chosen the music before I've actually shot the piece. In the past, I've sort of picked music afterwards, but in watching a lot of other great YouTube filmmakers talk about their process, they almost all seem to choose the track before they actually shoot the project. And so I wanted to give that a try. Now, kind of following what Danny did, he talks about this in his breakdown video. He chose a song that really well fit the theme of the video and had some lyrics that kind of underscored it, and I actually really liked that. So I wanted to do something similar. Now, whatever music platform you use, I just so happen to use Artlist, but there are so many great ones out there that have great sound effects and music libraries, so you can choose any one you want. But I happen to find this song that's playing underneath me right now that I think will do a really good job of both setting the tone and the mood for this piece. And so I'm excited to use this song sort of as the story through line for the whole piece. I think something that music does really well is help me actually feel the emotions of what a piece could look like, which just helps me do a better job of visualizing the shots. So excited to use this song to see what we'll create. That's next. We got to start actually shooting and filming this piece. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Let's see how it turns out. Peace.